very much. Thank you indeed. You know, this summer, I worked up at the at Lake Tahoe, which is right on the border of California and Nevada, in a place called Harrah's. And appearing with me there was a wonderful young comedian who doesn't rely so much on the joke as on his sharp observation of human behavior. And I'd like you to meet him right now. He's a very funny man. Ladies and gentlemen, my good friend, Bill Cosby. You applauding yourself?
No, I was applauding you walking around.
Oh, yeah.
This place is beautiful on that.
You know, it was really a lot of fun working up at Harrah's, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I enjoyed myself.
You know, and Mr. Harrah, who owns practically everything in the whole world, really is very generous with performers who work up there. For instance, we were there 2 weeks, and I got the use of his Rolls Royce and a beautiful house down on the lake. It was really wonderful.
He gave all that to you?
Well, to use, yeah.
He gave me a bike and, and a tent.
You know, I used to listen to Bill every night. There's a speaker down in the dressing room, and that's the way I could tell when it was about time for me to get ready and go upstairs to go on. And every night, when Bill got to this werewolf part of the show, I died laughing every time I heard it. I never ever saw you really do it, but it's the funniest routine I ever heard.
When I was a kid, I used to watch the horror pictures, and the guy that I always felt sorry for was the Wolfman, because here's a guy, he was always walking around, you know, as a human being, and the full moon would come up, and he wouldn't know, you know, and then all, you know, and I figured it must be awfully embarrassing, you know, for a guy like, he's sitting around the table eating dinner, and they go, you know, these kids all pop where you're going out in the yard for crying out loud, you know, and how about if he's getting a haircut as a human being, about, the moon comes out, sir, this is going to cost you an extra $9. Go on, make it light around the legs, will you, please?
You know, I don't imagine that a lot of Bill Cosby fans know that he was also, you know, a great athlete. We were talking about playing basketball up at the lake, but he got a scholarship to Temple University for football.
I played football in Philadelphia, and I'd say that the important training for any kid starts in the street. Now, I started right in the street. We had a playground 2 blocks away, but forget the playground. It's better to play in the street. Now, our street was about 40 feet wide, and we had double parking on both sides, and you had about this much space to run down the patterns. And if you're a good pass receiver, you can screen your man into certain things like trees and poles, and people coming out of the drugstore, and it's just great. And you have 23 guys on a side. You play in 7 degree below zero weather. So therefore, the defensive men, while you're huddling, hide in cars. You know, they're sitting in other people's cars. You know, oh, they're coming out. You know, and they wait for it. And instead of 30 seconds to huddle, we had like 3 hours, because you had to take care of a lot of guys, you know. And standard equipment for street football is the reindeer sweater that your mother gives you every Christmas that you rip up to get rid of. Please, get rid of the reindeer sweater. Oh, reindeer! Oh, not again, you know. And I ripped mine up, and every Christmas, showing up reindeers. Well, here we go again. Corduroy trousers, and the worst pair of shoes I could find. We never had sneakers, so you take these shoes, cut off the leather sole, tell the shoe repairman to put on a rubber sole so you can stop and go. Now, but when he puts on a rubber sole, it's different from leather in that he tacks rubber. Now, the problem here is when you run, you stop and go, you don't wear out the sole as much as you wear out the heads of the nails. Now, when this happens, then the sole leaves the shoe and it comes down like that. And when you walk, it's embarrassing because your shoe flaps, you know, or else you bend it in half if you don't pick your leg up high enough. So what you have to do is you pick your leg up extra high, then you throw it out quick, and then you smash it down like that, see? So when you walk, it goes, you know, flap, you know, flap. Now, with the corduroy pants on, you turn into a one-man band. Flap, flap. But these shoes are really great, because if you see a nickel or a quarter, you don't have to bend over. You got it. Well, we did a lot of great things as kids. I remember sneaking into the movie on a Saturday matinee. We had this kid, his name was Old Weird Harold. Had an IQ of about 20 million. And old Weird Harold would just, what he'd do is he'd devise a plan for sneaking in, because we always get caught. He said, now look, what we need is a guy, chip in, you send this guy in first, see. Now he waits by the exit door. Instead of just opening up the exit door at any given time, he must wait until there's a daytime scene going on the screen that will coincide with the light that when you open up the exit door. Now we have a kid waiting outside that we call the lamb. He will sacrifice himself. He will run in. He's got 2 lines. He runs into the usher, grabs the usher around both legs, and he says, "You got me? You got me." This makes the usher very happy that he caught somebody. Oh, I got somebody. You know? And we'd all scurry in and sit down, and the manager of the movie thought he was very cool. He'd go around looking for guys with dilated pupils, you know. They threw out 17 junkies there right now. But out on the street, it's just beautiful, because Arnie's IQ was a little higher than old Weird Harold's. Arnie's IQ was about 25 billion, and he could call plays like nobody else's business. This guy could work right within the framework of the street. The fencermen in the cars there, you know, and Arnie's, all right, huddle up. You know, the guys would come back, breathing that frost and everything. And throw it to me, I was clear. Shut up, shut up. Andy, you go down 10 steps, cut left behind the black Chevy, count to 6, and jump up on the hood. Buzzy, you run in my house and wait in the living room. Cos, go down to 3rd Street, catch the J bus. Have him open the doors at 19th Street. I'll fake it to you. You know, you always have one little fat kid that, you know, you can't catch or nothing. His hands are about this small, you know. But what about me? You go long. And keep going. You know, but if you think the patterns are funny, you should have seen it when the guys were covered. 18 guys on the hood of the car, 4 people in the living room, and the bus driver was, I don't care what you're doing, I gotta get out of here. He drive off. But we did a lot of, we played cowboys and Indians and good guys and bad guys, you know. This is, sorry about the buzzer.
Oh, that's the watch. Well, go ahead and tell us.
This is a gun, see, and you don't have a real gun. See, this is beautiful. You make your own sound. Now, this is a beautiful sound. There's some guys that went, "Dah," which is retarded. I was very cool with mine. I put a Band-Aid over the tip of my finger, and mine went, silencer, you know. I had to go around and tell guys, they would, you know I shot you? I didn't hear it. Well, I shot you. Good. All right, sorry. We had a guy, his name was Edward, was the greatest dyer in the world. You could shoot with any reasonable range, he'd fall dead, stay dead. If you never fixed him up, he stayed dead 3 or 4 days. But Ronnie was the worst. Now, Ronnie, you could shoot Ronnie, you could put the gun right in his ear. Hey, Ron, you missed me, you didn't get me. Just nick my ear, that's all. Was the worst.
Oh, that's funny. Hey, you've got to tell the thing about San Francisco.
Oh, well, this
we're running late, but...
Are we running late?
Yeah.
Well, we better get on.
Do it fast.
Get on with it, man. They have hills in San Francisco that are like this. I mean, some of them 2 more degrees than they would be like that. You'd have to put suction pumps, you know, cups on your tires so you can get up the hill. And driving around here, I had a Volkswagen, and I don't get along with a clutch well at all. First gear is a pain in the neck. Second is not too bad, but third is great. Once I get in the third, I'm not stopping for nobody. I'll run over a guy before I have to go back in. If I get it in the 3rd gear on Wednesday, I figure it's good Thursday, Friday, you know, I'll leave it to you. I'm not shifting for nobody. So I was working at the Hungry Eye, and all I had to do was go down a half a block, make a left-hand turn, and go up this hill, and I get to work in 8 minutes. So I said, well, I'm not taking that hill. That's all there is to it. And I took my own route. I went by way of San Jose, Sausalito. Because the hills are fierce. You drive up, and you don't worry about getting to the top as much as you worry about the fact that once you're up there, the car keeps going up, and there's no ground. You can't see. It's the only time I've ever stood up, sitting, you know, in the car. Where's the land, for crying out loud? Then when I did go down there, I went down like this. You know, put the brake on. You crazy? The back of the car flip over this way. So they dug up this street, and I said, well, I really got to take the hill now, because the detour sign says, you got to take the hill. So I said, all right. So I gunned up the motor. Wah, 40, 60, 80, drive, I get all the way up to the top. I'm ready to go over, and I look to the... Somebody put a stop sign up at the top of there, and I said, now, you got to be kidding. Nobody in his right mind puts a stop sign over the top of a hill like this. I figured the city didn't do it. Some nut went out to the Army-Navy store, bought himself a stop sign. He's got a spyglass, looks through it all. Says, look, Martha, we caught somebody there. And to make sure that you stop, he's got a duty pedestrian that he pays to jump in front of your car. Ha! Well, I'm caught. I gotta stop. I put the brake on. And I figure I'm gonna lose my right leg now because all the blood's draining down my head. And I know the time it takes me to get off of the brake and get to the accelerator, I will have drifted into the bay. And I know if I die that way, they won't let me into heaven. You go up to heaven, you see St. Peter, says, how'd you die? So me and a Volkswagen drifted backwards down the bay. So you go to, and I said, well, I look in the rear view mirror. Now there's a car behind me. Well, I don't want him to know I can't drive. So I said, come around, idiot. Come around. He can't hear me because he's busy telling the guy behind him, come around, idiot. Come around. They caught 25 million of us on that hill. So we all made an agreement. We'd put on the emergency brake, and we turned it into a used car lot.
Bill Cosby, ladies and gentlemen. Bill, that's wonderful. All right, Andy. Thank you for coming by.
Okay. Sorry you have to venture off.